You're in the middle of a conversation. Nothing has been said out loud. But somehow, you already have a feeling. That feeling isn't random. Long before language existed, humans were reading each other through posture, timing, and tiny involuntary movements. That system never went away. It's still running underneath every conversation you have, whether you're aware of it or not. And when someone is into you, that ancient system lights up in ways you can actually learn to see. Here are 7 signs, backed by real research, not guesswork. Sign 1. Her feet are pointing toward you. Sounds strange. It isn't. Body language researchers have long observed that people unconsciously orient their feet toward whatever holds their interest. Even in a crowded room, even mid-conversation with someone else nearby, feet tend to point at the person the body actually wants to engage with. Former FBI behavior analyst Joe Navarro, who spent decades studying nonverbal communication, has written extensively about this pattern. The face can perform politeness. The feet rarely lie. Next time you're talking to someone, glance down. Not obviously, just once. If her feet are angled toward you rather than toward the exit or toward whoever else is in the group, that's not nothing. Sign 2. She mirrors your movements. You lean forward slightly. A moment later, without thinking about it, she leans forward too. You pick up your drink. Shortly after, so does she. This is called mirroring, and psychologists have studied it as one of the most reliable subconscious indicators of rapport. It happens automatically when 2 people feel a genuine connection. It's not something most people can fake convincingly for long because it isn't a conscious decision. It's a nervous system syncing with another nervous system. Watch for it over the course of a few minutes, not a single moment. One overlap could be coincidence. Repeated overlap usually isn't. Sign 3. Eye contact lasts a beat longer than expected. Not staring, not awkward, just slightly longer than a casual glance would normally last. Psychologist Zick Rubin's early research on romantic attraction found that couples who reported being in love maintained significantly longer mutual eye contact than casual acquaintances. There's a reason. Eye contact is vulnerable. Holding it signals comfort with being seen and interest in continuing to look. If she looks away quickly and rarely returns your gaze, that's one signal. If her eyes come back to yours again and again throughout the conversation, that's a very different one. Sign 4. She remembers small details you mentioned once. You said something offhand 3 weeks ago, a song you liked, a stressful week at work, and somehow she brings it up again, unprompted, weeks later. Memory is selective. Human brains discard the overwhelming majority of what they take in every single day. What survives is what the brain has flagged as important. If small, seemingly forgettable details about you are surviving that filter, it usually means you're being paid closer attention than you might realize. Sign 5. Her pupils dilate when she's looking at you. This one isn't something you can control on either side. Pupil dilation is an involuntary physiological response tied to arousal and interest. First studied extensively by psychologist Eckhart Hess in the 1960s, Hess found that people's pupils measurably widened when looking at something or someone they found appealing, even in dim lighting where dilation would normally be minimal. It's subtle. It's not always easy to catch in casual light, but it's one of the few signals almost impossible to fake, because it isn't run by conscious thought at all. Sign 6. She creates reasons to extend the interaction. The conversation could have ended 5 minutes ago, but somehow there's always one more question, one more topic, a reason to keep the exchange going a little longer than strictly necessary. Anthropologist Helen Fisher, who has spent decades researching the biology of attraction, has pointed out that early-stage romantic interest often shows up not through grand gestures, but through small, repeated efforts to prolong contact. Texting back quickly, suggesting one more coffee, finding an excuse to stay 5 minutes longer at the end of a night. Time, in this context, becomes a kind of evidence. Sign 7. She's nervous in a way she isn't with everyone else. A slightly higher-pitched laugh, fidgeting with a bracelet or a hairstyle. A tiny stumble over words that otherwise come easily to her. This isn't discomfort. It's activation. The same nervous system response that shows up before a big presentation or an important interview can show up here too, for the same underlying reason. Something matters. The stakes, even in a small social sense, feel higher than usual. Watch how she behaves with you compared to how she behaves with other people in the same room. Consistent ease everywhere except around you is often more telling than nervousness on its own. Now here's the part worth sitting with. None of these signs, on their own, prove anything. Feet can point randomly. Eye contact can be a personality trait, not a signal. A nervous laugh can just mean someone is nervous. The value isn't in any single sign, it's in the pattern. When several of these show up together, consistently, across more than one interaction, that's when the pattern starts to mean something real. There's also a deeper reason all of this exists in the first place. Before spoken language became sophisticated enough to say, "I'm interested in you," directly, humans relied entirely on these physical cues to navigate courtship. Anthropological research on nonverbal courtship behavior across cultures has found strikingly similar patterns worldwide: prolonged eye contact, mirrored posture, proximity seeking, appearing again and again, regardless of language or geography. That consistency suggests something deeper than social convention. It suggests biology. Your ancestors didn't have dating apps or texting etiquette. They had bodies that communicated interest long before words could catch up. And somewhere underneath every modern conversation, that same old system is still quietly doing its job. You walked into this not knowing whether she felt anything you didn't already suspect, but the truth is, she was never able to hide it as well as she might have thought.